Okay, this is now the tarot process, part 18. And it's the 7th card in a Celtic Cross. So I'm hoping I can think of something to say. I had great ideas upstairs about how I was going to... This is the trouble when you plan ahead. Sometimes it is. It's better to be spontaneous, I think. Anyway, I've got my teaching aid here, my visual aid. So we've done the first card in the opposing force, the foundation, what's passing away, what may come, what will come. The 7th card is going to go at the bottom of what will be 4 cards going up, taking us to the final outcome. And the 7th card represents the present position. And it gives us an idea of what kind of frame of mind the questioner is in at the moment of turning the card. So I was thinking earlier, let's say you want a new job and there's a promotion, and a friend of yours says you're going to get the promotion. And you think, well, I'd like to, but how, why, when is it going to happen? So somebody can give you an answer, and that's like the final outcome card. So you could start at the end and tell people what's going to happen, but most of the time they're not going to believe it, or if they do want to believe it, they have doubts. So you can look at a Celtic Cross as being, we need to get to that final outcome in some way, or the questioner is going to get to that final outcome, but you don't want to just throw them into it or land them in it. You want to build up to the final outcome. And that's why we begin with the general atmosphere surrounding the question. Opposing forces, the foundation, what's passing away, what may come, what will come. Now the 7th card, at this point, we're going to look at other people and hopes and fears with the 9th, and then the final outcome with the 10th. But with the 7th card, it gives you, the reader, an idea of how well the reading is going. So if you get, the way it was explained to me once was, if the first card is upright and the 7th card is upright, then they were with you in the beginning, they're still with you. If the first card is upright and the 7th card is upside down, they were with you in the beginning, but they're not so much anymore. Or if this first card is upside down and the 7th card is upside down, you've got a barrier. There's a barrier between you and the questioner. And so you need to look at the card itself and the first card and figure out what's going on and what you do to fix it, or to solve the problem, or to in some way break down the barrier. And how do you do that? You figured it out. Because a lot of it is a particular question, a particular questioner who's in a particular frame of mind, who's got confidence or lacks confidence. They've been trying something for a long time and it hasn't worked, or they're just about to do something for the first time. This is all very different, and you're dealing with a different situation depending on the state of mind, the frame of mind, the experience, the background, the expectations, the hopes of the questioner. So it's not actually that, well, it can be difficult doing a reading for somebody because you've got to, or it's better if you can in some way account for all these different variables, all the different possibilities that the person is going through. And then they've got a question. How are you going to answer it? So part of it is looking at the 7th card, and it shows the questioner at the time that you turn the card, and it gives you an idea of what they're thinking about the answer that you've given them so far, as well as what they're thinking about the question and the whole situation. So if the 7th card happens to be the 8 of Swords, again, from the previous video, I like this because, or I don't like it because. But it's telling you something about the questioner, and you may not be able to explain it all. Some of it you have to keep back because they're not going to get it, or they're going to take it the wrong way, or they're going to misunderstand in some way. So with the 7th, if the 8th card, the 7th card is the 8 of Swords, we look at the card and we see somebody who is stuck. And maybe what we do is we look back to the card in the 7th position to get an idea of, because this 7th card is probably going to last for a bit, and the 6th card shows the immediate future. So it's a bit like if you consider, let's say the 6th card was a 2 of Cups, and you say, yes, you're going to meet somebody. And then the 7th card is the 8 of Swords, where you feel stuck, that you're never going to meet anybody. Maybe the reader, need to refer back to, or figure out what kind of change there's going to be in this 8 of Swords person, so that when they do meet the new person that you've promised or you've identified from the 2 of Cups, they're going to know how to handle it. And maybe you need to reassure them that, okay, you feel like this, you feel trapped at the moment, but that's going to change because we've got this promise of a new meeting with a new romantic attachment coming up in the immediate future. And then maybe you think, let's look at that foundation card again, because if the foundation is, let's say, the 10 of Batons, right? And that shows somebody who can't really see where they're going. So maybe at this point, you remind them with the 8 of Swords showing restriction and confinement that a lot of their ideas about relationships come from not knowing where they're going or not knowing what direction to go in. And maybe it's because they don't know who they want, or they don't know the kind of person that they want. Because that's difficult. If you'll take anybody, that's fine. You're always going to find somebody, but is it maybe not a bit better to have an idea of what kind of person you're looking for, especially with romance, and you're going to spend a lot of time with that particular individual? You're probably better off having an idea of, or knowing the kind of person you prefer or the kind of person you want, so that if you meet somebody and you're attracted to them and they're attracted to you, but you know that they're not quite your cup of tea or they're not quite what you're looking for, you go into the relationship with both eyes open rather than pretending, yes, this is the love of my life. But again, let's say we've got the 10 of Batons below as the foundation, then maybe you talk again about the value of knowing where you're going, or having an idea of where you sort of generally want to end up. Then you maybe won't feel so trapped with the 8 of Swords here. So it's a bit like when by the time you get to the 7th, because if you look at the diagram, this middle bit is like a cross and a circle, and it's a bit like this is all contained within the circle. Now the 7th card is outside the circle, as if we've got a new direction. So instead of going round and round as we do with the cards 3, 4, 5 and 6, now we're reaching up, maybe we think, or we're going towards a destination point. So there's something. So this 7th card, we can probably do a lot with it if we have the idea of you're going in a certain direction. So maybe with the card in the 7th position, we want to know, or we want the questioner to have a good idea about what direction they want to go in. Then they've got a better chance of partly they've got a better chance of getting there. There's something about, if you've no idea where you're going, I can't remember, there's something about a map and I can't remember. Okay, so let's say the 7th card on the other hand, here's one. The 7 of Pentacles, right? So here we've got, we turn this card, we've been answering a question about will I meet somebody and have a good relationship. So at this point you feel trapped. You feel like it's never going to work. It's not going to work. And maybe you refer back to what's already been shown in the Celtic Cross so far. But let's say the 7th card is the 7 of Pentacles. So at this point, you've got one idea, one coin. You've got the beginnings of understanding, or you've got you're feeling a bit more confident because at least you've got some decision that you've made or some step that you've taken. One coin, but there's more to go. So what you're doing at this point is you're thinking things through. So maybe what you do is you say to the person, I like this card because it shows somebody who has something together and they're thinking carefully about what the next step is going to be or what the next development is going to look like. So they're planning ahead, they're thinking ahead, and that is probably going to give a better result. So maybe you say that, because sometimes with card readings, it's not so much whether it's right or wrong. It's more you put into words for the questioner what they hadn't been able to do or what they'd only imagined. But hearing somebody else say it can be encouraging and can let them know they're on the right track, or maybe they should begin to trust themselves a bit more. So so by you talking about, okay, you're now in a better position than you were in the beginning, depending what the first cards were. So now you've got something to build on with this single coin here. So take your time, don't rush, and take your time and think it through about who you want next, or if you're going to go out with this person or not, or how you're going to handle future romantic relationships. And because it's coins and coins happen to represent values, you should find people who care about the things you care about. So if you support Manchester United, you don't go out with somebody who supports Manchester City. Or if you support Liverpool, you don't go out with somebody who supports Everton. If you're from Manchester or Liverpool, you'll understand that. Even if you're not, you might understand it anyway. So that's the seventh card. It's the present position. So it's telling you something about the state of mind of the questioner at that moment. But then, I think because we're on a different trajectory now, we're going up and we've got one card above the other rather than in a circular format. We're thinking differently with this 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th cards. It's as if you've got off the wheel and now you're ploughing a new, whatever you call that, trench, whatever the word is for the V shape that a plough makes as it turns the earth over. It's just that it's different. 7, 8, 9 and 10 are different character and tell you different things than the first 6 cards. Okay, so again, when we get to the 10th card, after that I'll do a whole thing and see if we can put it all together. But think about the 7th card as being the present position and what you can tell about the questioner from that one card. And then you begin to remind yourself of what came up before and begin to put maybe 2 cards together, the foundation and the 7th card, or the future, what will come, the 6th card and the 7th card. And maybe that Helen asks about the 5th card as what may come. Maybe you look at the card in the 5th position and the 7th and see how they relate to each other. Because maybe the card in the 7th is going to emphasize what's shown by the 5th card. And so you get the idea that this may come, but you really want it. Even if you're not admitting it to yourself, you want what's shown in the 5th card. So you'll be more inclined to, if an offer like that comes along, you'll be more inclined to take it. So maybe in that way, by comparing the 7th and the 5th, you get an idea of how seriously the 10th card is going to be taken. Because the 10th card is a final outcome, but maybe it's a final outcome that lasts for 10 seconds. Whereas the 5th, as what may come, is going to be what you develop. And you get a better idea of that by looking at the 7th card, the present position. Okay, thank you very much. Let me just put these cards away. So what do you do when you finish looking at cards? I think what you do is this. A quick shuffle, and then wrap them up and put them away until the next time you use them. Rather than, it's a bit like a full stop at the end of the sentence. That last quick little shuffle sort of finishes up what you've been doing with them at this time and gets them ready for the next time you open the cloth and start shuffling. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I have nothing else to say. So I'll talk to you in a few days. Thanks again. And I'll just keep saying, oh yeah, James, I think it was, comment if you leave comments and I don't answer, sorry about that. But James said just saying thank you is good enough for him. So let me say thank you to all of you. One big thank you. But I'll try to leave more responses to comments. I usually, if it's a question, I try to leave a response. If it's just a thanks very much for the videos, I tend to not. But anyway, enough of me rambling on here. I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, bye bye.